Alright, welcome to another DougZ73 video. I'm trying to make the best use of this time during this COVID-19 stuff going on. So, we are at my storage unit, the motorcycle side, or the garage side as I call it, with all the crap. The whole other, it's a 10 by 25, and the whole other side of it is the house stuff. Trying to get a video together. The bike's going here, but I got my camping stuff out. I'm putting a video together to go over the camping stuff. I'll link in the description the MotoCamping video I did last summer, and you'll see the way the bike's set up, and I'll randomly insert some pictures to show you what I'm talking about with various things. But this is my basic kit, that most of it, that I go camping with. I got the other two bikes out right now. This is my random tote I use for all my camping crap to keep it in, other than the tent and the sleeping bag. Sleeping bag's on the other side of the storage unit, so you've all seen the SV. And the FZ09, which unfortunately isn't registered down here in Florida yet. I got to get that registered because this one just broke down the other day and I don't trust it now, and I got to get that one registered. But long story short, I'll be back in a minute.
A few moments later.
Okay, back at it, trying to do it before I lose too much light. So what I have here, and I'll slowly go through it. These are some dirt bags that I got from a buddy of mine that I used to work with. He had them for a DRZ 400, and he had given them to me. The mounts and the racks. The racks for the dirt bags were crap. They broke pretty easily. But I have, and unfortunately they're buried in one of these kind of totes that's buried in the storage unit. I have Eric Wolfman's original racks that he was making with a guy in Adventure Rider. I have a set of those, and they are a super awesome unit. And luckily, I was able to retrofit these. I mean, the straps basically go over the seat, and then use these little straps that I made up. You can buy all these parts in whatchamacallit. Sorry, I'll cut that out. You can buy these little straps and clips from McMaster Car. This heat shield I put on myself. Most people buy that retail and pay an arm and a leg for it. The company I used to work for actually used to make it, so of course I liberated some of the rejected stuff for myself and used it. It's a good heat shield. Has the exhaust side, and then there's some clamps that come off here that hook onto the mounts on the rear foot pegs and whatnot. But I'll go through those. What else we got? We got a tarp that I always put underneath the tent. I got my hammock and straps that you'll see in the video I link below. I have a Coolmax for the cold days, an air pillow, and a Coolmax liner for the sleeping bag. It's one of those silk things, and it's supposed to add 10 degrees of warmth or whatnot. I have a cheap little chair from Walmart, and I have a nicer, and I'll set these up real quick. I have a nicer the Monarch butterfly chair, or whatever the hell you want to call it, elite chair. And this is the one that you're only actually sitting on 2 legs at a time, and your legs are supposed to hold yourself up, which is not a big deal as long as you're not too intoxicated. But I'll set that up and show that. I have my jet boil in here. I'll take that out and show you. I have 2 Wolfman bags that I love to use. I love the Wolfman products. I have his tank bag as well. I'm not sure where it is. This is the dry sack. They don't even make it anymore, or is it that one? They don't. One of the two they don't make anymore. So if I think it's going to rain, I'll throw all the gear for the tent and everything in here, and then it's a dry fold system, and it straps down really nice. It's got all these extra straps sewn on it for tying it and hooking it to the bike, and I have a rack that I put on the back of the. This is a WR, my mountain bike, Kids 50. Here I have a rack that goes on the back tail section here for when I do camp. Actually, I think the last time I went, the dirt bags and the side mounts were strong enough that I didn't even need to worry about putting the top rack on, but I have a rack that I put on there that these will strap to. This is his other bag. I'm pretty sure this is the one you can't get anymore. And I remember getting it at a closeout price. It's not waterproof, but as you can see, I personally put almost all my stuff in dry bags anyway. This mess over here is the tent. I have a Kelty tent. I'm not going to set that whole thing up in here, but I'll show it to you. Really nice tent I got from either Walmart or Target. I do a lot of shopping at Target for like under 60 bucks, and it's a great tent. Never had a problem with it. That orange bag is most likely the dry bag I store it in. And as you can see, I store stuff in a lot of dry bags. I have my straps to tie things down, my tents. I bring a little kid's hammer for banging the tent stakes in. It all fits in your eggs. I always like to bring eggs with me if I'm doing a 1 or 2 day trip. They can be warm for a little while and not have any issues. Some aircraft cord I always like to carry with me just in case. Just some random crap in here. Nothing really extra exciting in that bag, but you know, Wolfman's products are really good. And then I always have my camping kit with me, which I'll show you more. I'll refer to pictures and things from the videos, and then always like just a little generic first aid kit. But I'll go over that in more detail in a minute. So getting a little further into the video, these are the 2 chairs. This is like a little chair that I'm sure I didn't pay more than $10 for from Walmart. That was the one that was in the gray bag. Pops up, sets itself up really nice, easy to sit on. The only downfall of it, you can sit on it stable and you don't have to worry about holding it up, but it doesn't have a back to it. I tend to like to have a back on chairs when I sit on them. This is the Elite Monarch butterfly chair or something like that. It's been years, so I forget what they call it. This was all the rage at one point in time. This chair here is pretty cool. This is the one, and I'll put a video in, or a picture in the video from me sitting on it, but it only sits on those feet. So you put your butt in the seat and then you have to balance on your feet. But it's a pretty awesome product in that it folds down into this bag. I mean, the thing that most of you know with moto camping is the smaller and the lighter the better. So I'll take a second here and I'll show you how easy the legs set up. It's almost like a camp setup.
A few moments later.
So as I mentioned with this is the way it comes out of the bag. Everything comes out really nice and small, folds up totally within the bag. Be nice and flat and small. So you take it out and you can almost throw it together with the cords. Put the legs together, put that on. This light goes in, hopefully, and then like I mentioned, you have the gold, the silver side, and the gold side. And typically I'll take and set up the gold side first. So you got the gold tabs there like that. So that's going to be the inside of the chair. Put the gold in the gold, gold in the gold, get it to stay, stretch it a little bit, you flip it over, and silver in the silver, gray in the gray, whatever you want to call it, and boom, chair set up. Like I said, you've seen it in my other videos. This is the bottom of it, this is the base. Sets up nice and small, real easy to sit in. The only catch is when you're sitting in it, you have to keep your legs out, your legs holding you up, which is not a big deal until you've had too many beers around the campsite. But I like it. It's very comfortable. You can lean back, it gives you enough support. Sometimes you have to use your leg strength to get in and out, which after a day of riding might be a little bit difficult, but it's a cool chair and it packs small, and it's one of those things, once you buy it, you have it. So I'll move on to some of the other stuff. All right, back at it. I don't really need to set up too much more stuff. The hammock and straps, this was a lesser expensive unit that I gotten from Walmart. I'll show you the picture. This last camping trip I did, I typically don't bring a hammock with me, but I was gonna be camping by myself and I knew I was gonna get up there during the daylight, so I'd have hours to kill, and I wanted to just chill. So I got that hammock. I'll show a picture of it from the campsite. These two little things were what were in this blue bag. That's the Cacoon liner, Cool Max liner and pillow. They call it the mummy liner, if you can see that. This is a little air pillow, blows up to like, I don't know, say 9 by 12, and you put that down and it's perfect. I usually throw a sweat jacket over top of it just to make it a little softer. You can adjust the air level just like you'd buy the kind of pillow that you like, soft, firm, hard, whatever you want to call it, and it works out perfect. And all this stuff packs up really small and typically goes inside one of these two bags along with the tent poles. I have to dig out the tent poles. Which one had tent poles in it? The poles for the tent, but I'll go over that tent in a second. Over here, I'm not gonna set up the whole thing. The jet boil cooking setup. This is the pan that you get with it. It comes with a little bowl on the bottom of it. Goes on top of the cooking jet boil itself. The little canister is the gas, goes underneath, and it's perfect. You can boil water and eat any of those dehydrated meals that you'll get at REI, or they sell them at Walmart and whatnot. I like using it I bring with me some eggs, like I mentioned. I bring tortillas, which can stay warm, and then you can get pre-cooked bacon in most grocery stores. So I throw all that together and I make breakfast burritos, which are perfect. As long as there's not too many days on the eggs, they're fine. You cook them up, scramble them, and you're good to go. I'll show you a picture of that I did from the camping trip too, and it all went together well. Clean this up, and then in a second I'll get to the tent. Like I said, I'm not going to set the whole thing up, but I'll just show you a little bit about it. Okay, we're filming. All right, try this again. This is the Kelty tent. I said it was I wasn't going to set it up in the storage unit because I'm battling light, but losing light here. But it literally took me 3 minutes to set it up. The poles come together really quickly. You know, they snap together, the hooks all snap on, goes in the corners. Even when you don't stake it down, it still stays apart as long as these poles are in place. Typically I will stake it down depending. I put it on the top of a tarp anyway, but it's a really nice unit, breathable. I have the cover, or the I forget what they call it. It's a rain cover essentially, but there's another name for it that's escaping me now. I'll put it in text when I think of it. But it's a Kelty Zenith 2. I got it at Target or Walmart. I'm pretty sure Target, because there was a Target by where I used to work, for less than 60 bucks, and it's a really good quality tent. You know, it serves my purposes. I've camped in New Jersey with it. I've camped up in the Catskills of New York, and it's worked out pretty well. So I'll throw the rain cover on and show you what that looks like. Keeps the rain off of it. I haven't ever had to use it. I've had it on, but I haven't had to use it before. But I'll be back in a sec. All right, still trying to get this done before the daylight ends. This is the tent fly, which was escaping me before. It's a tent fly, comes with the unit. It's just like the regular doors. It closes over. Everything can zip up. It's got these nice little latches here that you see.
And the piece on the inside, wherever it is, comes around, you can hook the door back, and in here somewhere. This thing, whatever, I'll cut that out. You can
hook it, and you know, this zips up, and it's a really nice little tent. It serves a purpose for me. The only other things I want to show you while I have the camera going is, besides the poles going in the bag and the machete, is the final two necessities that I like to bring: biodegradable camp soap and a camp towel. My buddies on one trip up to the Catskills, they laughed at me for bringing those two items. There was a lake. We camped at a spot called Big Pond, or I should say Big Pond was down the road, but that's the camping area in the Catskills. And after a day of riding with full leathers on, this was sport touring. This wasn't moto camping on a dirt bike. This was sport touring on it was actually on the SV. But went down there in our shorts, and I brought this stuff with me, and everybody thought it was funny until they were like, "Oh, hey, let me use some of that soap. Oh, hey, let me use that towel when you're done with it." They're both inexpensive items. I got it probably REI, and they work perfect after a day riding. You know, cool off, throw your bathing suit on, go in whatever body of water that you're near, clean up, dry up, put on your dry clothes, sit around a campfire, make dinner, and drink some beers or whatever you're having. And the final item I always bring with me is a headlamp. When you have to set up camp in the dark, or just doing anything in the dark in the woods, it's nice to have a headlamp with you. Actually, I have two. I got another one buried in that tote. But that's about it. That's all the gear I bring with me, and you know, I'll mention anything else in the video as I edit it. So hope you like this video. Feel free to subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell. I'm not putting out videos as much as I used to before, but I like to do a lot of riding videos, slight moto vlogging and things like that. But I've been wanting to make this camping video for a while, and enough to the point that while we're unfortunately under this lockdown with coronavirus, that I'm self-isolating over here by myself, decided to grab the camping stuff while I could get to it and make a video. So that's it. Be safe, everyone, and see you out there on the trail or the road or the track, whatever. If it's two wheels, I'm happy. So take care, and talk to you later. Bye. So the last thing I want to hit you with is these are one of those totes you can get from Walmart or Target or anywhere else. All my camping gear fits right in here perfectly. The only thing I leave out is I have a Kelty 40 down sleeping bag, down feather. So I like to leave it fluffed up a little bit in its case that it came with. But both the tent and the sleeping bag, before I put them in those Wolfman bags, I use a compression sack like you see here to squash them down. They both pack down to basically the size of a canister of coffee, you know, like Folgers or whatever. But all this, you know, I read some stuff. People said if you want to make your tents last, don't fold them the same way all the time. So I just randomly bunch them up and throw them in here. I throw the top on, and then it's good to go the next time I go camping. one thing most people do, and you should, if your tent is wet, you should not put it away wet because it'll get mold inside. If you know you're camping in a wet area, this is one of the reasons I like to put a tarp down. If you know you're camping in a wet area, and your tent's wet and you're packing it up and using it, you should definitely dry it out. If you have a garage, if you have a front yard, if you have a backyard, somewhere you can put it where it won't get wet again, but it'll dry out, let all the air get through there. As well as the sleeping bags, the down bags, you can't get wet. They will come back if you do get them wet, but once you get them wet on a trip, they're going to be wet the entire time. I also like to let them hang. I bring a hanger with me for the sleeping bag, and I'll hang it from a tree for an hour or two before I use it, because that lets all the down feathers fluff up. It packs down, like I said, in one of these compression sacks to the size of a coffee canister, and you know, it's compressing all the air and all the quote-unquote fluff. So you need to let it air out, and then it's perfect for the night. The only other thing I didn't seem to see in here, and actually it's in the other side of the storage unit, is I have one of those little 1-inch air mattresses that roll up like a bedroll, and when you get to the site, you open the valve, just let it self-inflate. You know, maybe blow a little bit of air into it before I'm ready to go to sleep and lay down. Close the valve, and it's good for the entire night. It's not as good as sleeping on a bed, but as long as you set your tent up in a spot that's not real rocky or doesn't have a lot of roots in it, you know, a lot of success for camping or having a good night's sleep is choosing the right camp spot and setting everything up and doing all your pre-work before, because you don't want to be trying to dig out rocks and sticks under your tent at 2 a.m. Because you're uncomfortable. So that's about it. This is the second wrap up of the video, so once again, I might insert this a little earlier, but hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks. Bye.